Bad news, folks. Really bad news. A massive red flag. Today I'm going to tell you why Stephen Curry might leave the Golden State Warriors. I'll break down everything that has happened this summer, all the bad signs that we are seeing, and could end with Stephen Curry leaving the Warriors. But watch until the end, and I will tell you how the Warriors organization can save us and avoid this massive disaster. First, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to become a member, when we reach 10,000, I'm gonna give away one Warriors jersey. I'm gonna bring here in the next video so you show which one I'm talking about. So check the membership option as well. And here is why every single Warriors fan got concerned yesterday. So look at the screen. Stephen Curry, it's a simple change, I know, but he removed it from his Instagram account in the description, guard for the Warriors, and changed that to Olympic gold medalist. So you're gonna say, oh, you're overthinking, it's just a simple change. He's happy that he won the gold medal, it was important for him. I know, I brought here in this video for you as well, but it's those small signs that are getting everyone concerned, and I'm gonna break down for you everything and why. Let's break down and walk back to everything that Stephen Curry has done and said this summer, which give us some insights that he might be undecided about his future. Look at this interview he gave to Yahoo Sports a little bit before the Olympic Games.
Where do you sit as far as where your career is and maybe even seeing yourself in a different uniform?
No, I haven't gotten there at all. And it's funny just because the way that things happen, whether it's the big headline like Klay Thompson's going to Dallas, and you probably haven't heard from me, and it's like this thing of, oh, does Steph want that, or does Steph talk to the organization? Like, if you know basketball, you know how this works. Like, I know what's going on, and I know all the ramifications of every decision. You know, I'm not making the decisions, but, you know, you want that collaborative kind of approach. Winning is hard in this league, man, and the fact that we've been able to do it for this long, it's been amazing. Trying to keep the core together this long has been amazing. Obviously, Klay is the first one to not be a Warrior, and so it's a different dynamic. I always want to win, plain and simple, and there's no contentment on just cashing a check and playing basketball and riding it out. Like, pressure is applied on, like, I want to win and I want to be in the best position to make that happen. Doesn't guarantee anything, but until that changes and I feel that energy changes, then, you know, I go about my business the same way.
And then, not long after that interview, Stephen Curry actually gave another interview where he said something similar. I'm gonna put on the screen. Let's read together and talk about it. In an interview with Mark J. Spears, Stephen Curry emphasized his desire to finish his career with the Warriors, but admits there are circumstances that could make him think about leaving. Curry's comments are in response to a question about whether he would be willing to follow the path of Kobe Bryant and Dirk Nowitzki, who remain loyal to one franchise but wound up playing on average teams later in their careers. It's tough, right? I've always said I want to be a Warriors for life, Curry said. At this stage in my career, I feel like that's possible and you can still be competitive. It doesn't mean you guarantee the championship. It doesn't mean winning. Winning is always a priority, but obviously you're realistic. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen if you stay the course. You need to shake things up and keep reimagining what it looks like to evolve with what the league is at right now, with where some of those talent teams are now. I'm taking one step at a time, to be honest. I think that's the only way that will protect my happiness. Also, it allows me to enjoy being myself when I'm out there playing, and I will continue to make the decisions that are best for me and for my career. At the end of the day, when it comes to just the imagination, I want to win. Let's put it this way. It's a long-winded way of saying that if it's a situation where you're a bottom feeder and it's just because you want to stay there, I would have a hard time with that. But I don't think that's going to be the reality. And there's no surprise on that, right? It's two different interviews very close to each other before the Olympics, all the offseason going on and free agency stuff with the Warriors. And we know Stephen Curry is competitive. He has 4 rings, he's the lead and face of the Warriors franchise, and he wants to keep competing, right, for a title contender, playoff runs. And there's a lot of unknowns around the Warriors right now, right? The Warriors didn't make that big trade that everyone was expecting, Lauri Markkanen, other names that were out there, Paul George. We lost those opportunities and we decided to not pursue them for many reasons that we have discussed here in this channel. but that put the whole season, the whole next years with a big question mark. That's because you depend on some players evolving that we don't know how they're going to behave. So we don't know what Andrew Wiggins we're going to face on the next season. We have said that multiple times here. He's oscillating in that roller coaster of performance. So which Wiggins is coming for the next season? We bet, and we didn't want to trade Brandon Porzingis, Jonathan Kuminga. We hold up with those guys. Are they really taking the leap that we need? Are any of them stepping up to be that second player? On top of that, we have a lot of new guys. D'Anthony Melton, Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield. How those guys will fit in the Warriors system, in the Warriors rotation, what they really going to bring. There are a good amount of good expectations around that, but you never know. We have had in the past guys that came like Otto Porter Jr. and really surprising and were really important for us. But we also had others that came and they didn't fit. So all those uncertainties leave the Warriors fans unhappy. Not unhappy, it's actually leave the Warriors fans concerned what's going to happen, because this next season is going to be crucial and very important when Stephen Curry made a decision about his extension in staying with the Warriors for life or not. Okay, I know now you're super concerned the same way that I am. You're at least unquiet about what is going to happen. Are we really losing in the near future? Stephen Curry, the face of our franchise, what's going to be of the Warriors after that? Who's going to take that place, right? It's questions that sometimes I do myself when he actually retires. Imagine that he's going to retire as a Warriors. Just having in mind that could be anticipated by many years, a few years, it's really weird, right? There's a weird feeling. But I want to give you some hope. Not everything is lost, and there's a way that things can actually solve and he can stay as a Warriors for life. It starts well with what the Warriors organization, main faces of the Warriors organization as management, Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy Jr. have said about Stephen Curry. So I'll put on the screen and I want you to take a look with me on what they have said so far. So this is about Joe Lacob, right? Golden State Warriors owner Joe Lacob had no qualms about Stephen Curry's latest comments about his future with the team, that he doesn't want to play for a bottom feeder. This is what he said. All he said was exactly what you would expect, which is, I want to win, and if we were really a bad team, I guess he would rethink whether he really wanted to finish his career here, but he didn't expect that to be the case. So I think he's making sense of what Stephen Curry really said, and he's acknowledging that that's the mindset he expects from Stephen Curry. And then he also said that, I think we have a great relationship. I think he's very comfortable with the path of the franchise and how hard we try to put as good a product on the court as we can. So one important thing here, Stephen Curry also said multiple times that he's aware of the decisions that the Warriors are doing, right? So he's not blindsided about it. All the trades, all the new guys are coming. Draymond also said that the Warriors organization, they speak with them. I'm not saying that they make decisions that they are acting like GMs. They never, he also made clear that that's not the case, but things are aligned with them. So it's sort of at the same time that we know there's a lot of big questions mark, you can also read between the lines that Stephen Curry is also betting all those things. It's also his own bet on the decisions that are being made. And then also look at the screen what Mike Dunleavy Jr. said.
Steph extension eligible as well, right? Have there ever been any discussions there?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that too. I mean, look, that guy, kind of whatever he wants. So we'll get through all that stuff. It's been a sprint here, getting through the draft and free agency and summer league and all that. But all that stuff will get figured out, and I think Steph will be, I think I'd say pretty confident he'll be a Warrior for life.
So as you can see there, he's basically opening the door and saying they will do everything in the organization power to keep Stephen Curry. I'm going to put in the screen again and reemphasize the quote he just said. Stephen Curry can get whatever he wants on the next Warrior contract. So that's great to hear, right? We know the Warriors were conservative and they thought well about the renewal of Klay Thompson. I do, and I discussed it here before. I think it was a mistake that started back there in 2022 when they made the extension for Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, and they didn't have the conversations with Klay Thompson. But I'm not gonna get in that. There's actually this video here that you can watch about the the rise and the fall of the Warriors dynasty that I created that talks a little bit more about Thompson. Let's break down the Stephen Curry contract situation, right? And let me give you some dates on what can happen. Why I'm saying that he might leave and when he will leave, how would things actually happen, right? Stephen Curry has a contract with the Warriors for the next 2 seasons. So look at the screen. He's set up to make about $55 million for the next season and $59 million for the 2025-2026. So great, we do have Stephen Curry, and we're not going to talk about trades here. Maybe we can discuss a future video about potential trades if we hear more about him leaving. So we still have Curry for at least 2 seasons, the way that things are heading, right? And this is what actually can also give some insights of what is going to happen. So let's read this about his contract extension situation. So Curry could ink an extension for 1 year and $62.6 million this summer to keep him with the team through the 2026-2027 campaign. If he waits until next offseason, however, he will be eligible for a 2-year, $130 million extension. So that's sort of where we can understand what Stephen Curry could do right now. So if he signs an extension for 1 extra year, a 3rd year, so this next season and 1 more, he's already guaranteed a 3rd one, he could get that $62.6 million, but he needs to sign that before actually the season starts. He needs to sign before October 22nd. That is the opening date of the season. If he doesn't do it, he needs to wait until the next offseason, so 1 more season, and then he's allowed to do a 2-year extension. So $130 million, that would be about $65 million per year. Let's break down equally like that for 2 years. Then if he signs that one, he would be guaranteed with the Warriors for 2026-27 and 27-28. So that is his contract situation. And considering all of that, why I said that I wanted to give you some hope. Again, he's 2 years more guaranteed with us unless we do a big trade. And we know, like, if we're trading Stephen Curry right now, I think we can assemble an entire roster only with what we would get. Even though I don't want it, right? I don't think you want that either. But, so 2 more years. And I think this is good because, as I said, he is also making bets and believing in that young core as the Warriors are doing right now, right? He's being part of that. He's being informed. He's giving his opinion about those decisions. And that gives the Warriors time to adjust. Meaning, let's imagine that we start the season well. Perfect. Problem solved. Let's imagine that they start the season badly, that the players don't come as we expect. We can push. We can then stop betting on these players, the young core or others that we brought, and we can push for a bigger trade, and then we can pair Stephen Curry with another superstar or even an all-star caliber player and then actually be competitive. So we do have basically 2 extra seasons before he becomes a free agent to adjust and to make the team competitive, which is a great time, and I'm pretty sure the Warriors can do it. I do think it's great. I think the timeline for Moses Moody and for Kuminga, for example, is this year. They need to take that leap that we are expecting. Otherwise, the Warriors, I believe, they would stop believing on that. Same with Wiggins. We know that the Warriors are clearly try to trade Wiggins, but his contract size, difficult that. But I think those 2 years will guarantee actually that the organization adjusts to what Curry needs and minimize the risk of him leaving. So remember, I said here before, February 6th, that's the next big day for the Warriors, because depending on how we start the season, part of these adjustments that I'm already mentioning right now, they need to happen until that date. We have a Lakers game, a Warriors vs. Lakers game on that date, and that's the deadline for the trades of this next season. So I would expect, according to what is happening in the first half of the season, basically, the Warriors to adjust. So I think one way or the other, the Warriors will be competitive, or at least they will finish the season competitive and probably making at least a playoff run. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to know everything about the Warriors calendar for the next season, I break down in this video here.